Hello and welcome to another episode of Percy Business Chat. Today, my guests are Lynn Mullen, founder of the Little Theater Workshop, and Ireland Tarpey, a Penridge grad and teaching artist. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
having us.
Lynn, tell us a little bit about what the Little Theater Workshop is all about.
Thank you for asking. Little Theater Workshop is a small theater company based here in Percy. We started back in the fall of 2019, mostly with classes for students in grades kindergarten through fifth grade, leading into sixth grade, seventh grade. Before the pandemic, we had a series of classes in the fall of 2019, and we had a series of classes in the spring. And then the pandemic hit, and I had a baby, and things stalled for a little bit. But back this fall, we ended up doing what I call a theater for a cause. So we did a virtual production with some volunteer actors. It was a virtual production called 10 Ways to Survive Life in Quarantine. It ended up being a lot of fun. We raised over $400 for Penridge Fish. And now we're ready to jump into our next season in 2021.
And that season is upcoming right now. You have auditions planned for a production called Dear Edwina. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Dear Edwina is a musical. So we're looking for kids who can sing or are interested in trying a musical. You don't have to have a lot of training. And it's for grades 4 through 8. And it's going to be a bit of an experience because it is 100% online. And because of that, the auditions are going to be pre-recorded. So the details of that are all on our website, but the auditions are due on January 16th, and the rehearsals will be from January through March. And so it should be a fun, different sort of experience, but an opportunity to still sing together and do theater together, even if we're in our separate spaces.
That's an interesting concept. Tell me how that works. How does an online production work?
Right. So it's definitely different, but Zoom is actually a pretty good platform for doing rehearsals, surprisingly. The main difficulty that you have is that with music, you can't all sing together because there's a delay. So you have to figure out ways to, mute the people who are not, who you don't need to hear right now, and then you record everyone individually and then put it all together. So there's an extra production quality to it. And it does have to be a pre-recorded production often just to make it a little bit easier. But when it comes to rehearsals, there are breakout rooms in Zoom. So you're able to have a rehearsal with the music director for some actors. And at the same time, you have an acting rehearsal with the artistic director, and maybe somebody is having a meeting with the stage manager. So we're able to do that and still have an opportunity for the students to interact and work with these professionals who I'm really excited about who we have. I know the artistic director is actually a Percy native as well. It's Patty Yost, who used to be the director of Central's musicals years ago. So she's a retired teacher now, but she wanted to continue her work in theater, which was really exciting.
Well, I can say you're absolutely fortunate to have Patty. I was able to work with her during my time at Penridge School District, and she was a delight to work with when it came to the productions at Central. And I'm sure she'll be an asset with whatever you're doing there with the Little Theater Workshop. Ireland, tell us a little bit about what you have in mind. You have an interesting concept for a production coming up as well.
Yeah, so we will be taking on a devised theater project and production with high school students. Right now, it's under the working title Deconstructing the Patriarchy. And the goal is for it to be an opportunity to create and share their own stories, and somehow we'll wrestle with the idea of what it means to identify as a woman, not only in this world, but also within our personal community, having grown up around the same places that these students will also be growing up. I think it will give us a chance to really talk about what it's like to be a young girl in the Percy area and what we have to say and what we want to hear from the community back.
How will you gather those stories? How will you get people to participate?
Yeah, so we'll have different prompts, anything from a visual prompt to an auditory prompt. So maybe we'll listen to a song and then you, as the actors, the playwright, myself, we all will kind of write down the thoughts that we have about that song and ourselves. We'll talk about stories that we have of personal experiences, visuals, what they remind you of. And then from there, we'll figure out, okay, what can we all agree on? What are the connections we're all building? And then try and create a story from that.
And this will be done online as well?
Yes, so the auditions are at the end of January and rehearsals will be every Saturday night over Zoom for the time being. And the production will be an extended production process. So the show won't be going up until the end of the summer. And at that point, we're hoping to be able to do some sort of outdoor production so that eventually we can be in person.
Have you done something like that in the past, or is this something that's kind of revolutionary for these times?
For myself, it's pretty revolutionary. This is the most experimental thing I've gotten to do, but Lynn is a really good mentor in guiding me through this process.
And I should mention you were very active in the Penridge High School theater activities, and also Rider University, where you just graduated.
Yeah, so I just graduated from Rider with a bachelor's in acting. And with everything that's going on, it's really incredible to be able to have a job that is somehow related to being artistic right now.
Well, that's great that you're able to continue your love of acting and theater right here in Percy. That's awesome. Lynn, tell us about another thing that you have coming up, the Incubator workshop.
Yes. So Improv Incubator, we realized that, yes, we're doing all of these programs for children and for youth, but adults want to do theater too. So we decided to try this Improv Incubator, and we have a teaching artist who's a local improver. He lives in Telford. His name is Rick Horner, and he is fantastic. So basically what Incubator is adults of any experience level can come, and he will guide you through activities and games where you just sort of get to, say what's at the top of your head and have fun together. Normally when I go to Incubator, well, improv is not my top skill, but normally when I go to Incubator, I'm able to, I meet new people and I get to play theater games, which I know a lot of people, especially people who are in theater or used to it, miss. So that's coming up. We're actually making a couple of changes. It used to be every third Friday. Now it's going to be every other Friday, starting the first one is going to be on January 22nd. And it's going to be a 45-minute long class from 7 to 7:45. And the new aspect is that if you want to come and just enjoy yourself, that's great. But we are starting in May going to be doing improv performances for the public as well. So if anyone wants to come to Incubator and use it as sort of a gymnasium to prepare for actually performing for people, they have an opportunity to do that. Now, because it is a class that focuses on adults, we do ask that anyone who participates is 18 or older, just to make sure that everyone feels comfortable with being able to just speak off the top of their heads. But it's a really fun class, and I hope that it really starts to get a lot of traction in the community.
Yeah, it does sound like a lot of fun. And as you said, it's for anybody. You don't have to have formal training in any kind of skills or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
One interesting aspect of the Little Theater Workshop that I find interesting is the fact that although this is a business, you don't have set fees for your participants. It's sort of it's a donation. It's a suggested donation. Tell us a little bit how that is and why that is.
Yeah, so one of the things that I have found is the arts and theater is so often priced in a way that, and this is through no fault of the artists or the other companies, but it's often priced in a way that makes it difficult for everyone to participate. And I felt strongly that as a community-based theater, that we try to make everything as accessible as possible. Now, when I started, it was a sliding scale fee. So I would say, I need you to pay between this lower amount or this higher amount. Anywhere in there is great. But now that we're facing, you know, the pandemic and some issues with the economy and people not having as much work as, you know, they used to, we've moved into a pay what you can method, which really is, you know, I still give a suggestion, like if you're able to pay between this amount, that's great. But honestly, I'm not going to turn anybody away. It's more important to me that we keep the arts in the community. So that's sort of where we're at right now.
Wow, that's a tremendous philosophy, that nobody gets shut out just because they can't pay.
Right.
And that's a great way to get people involved who might otherwise not be able to do it.
Mhm.
What else do you have coming up? You have the classes for kids coming, I think.
Yes, we have one other thing coming up, and this was just added. So this is what we're calling the Creative Theater Workshop. It is for kindergarten through 3rd grade. And it is going to also be virtual, at least for now, for this round. But basically, it's taking what we were doing before, which was working on you know, building our own story and building our own characters and everything, and creating our own piece with the younger kids. And we're moving it into a virtual setting. And it's going to be shorter classes, 8 30-minute classes starting in February, ending at the end of March. And instead of developing the whole play together, they're going to start with a story, a fun story, and then they're going to make a play out of that story. And then at the end, they get to record it, and then they get to share it with their family. So it should be really fun. I'm really excited. We have a new teaching artist, Claire, who will be teaching that, and she's really experienced in virtual classes. So it's going to be a really fun opportunity, even though unfortunately we can't be in person quite yet. But hopefully after March, maybe we'll get to the point where we can at least do outside programming.
When we do move to the point where you can be indoors and in person, where would that happen?
Well, we have been housed in Trinity Lutheran Church up until now. And my hope is to continue that relationship with Trinity. There is a possibility that we will find other places within the community to work as well, depending on the needs of the various productions and classes. I know looking forward, we are hoping to do what I'm calling the Summer of Shakespeare, which would include doing Shakespeare outdoors. So, you know, we are looking for an outdoors location that would be able to host us and have bathrooms and everything, hopefully for the summer. But right now, our main relationship has been with Trinity Lutheran Church.
Well, this is all very exciting. It's something that I think our community can value and needs. And I really appreciate the fact that you're doing this. Tell us how people can get in touch with you and how they can find out more information.
Yes, absolutely. So our website is www.littletheaterperkasie.com, and that's theater with an ER, not an RE. And then to email me, if you have any questions, you can email me directly at littletheaterperkasie@gmail.com.
Awesome. Thank you very much. This has been great. I appreciate you taking the time, Lynn and Ireland. Good luck with your productions as they come up. Folks, get out there, make sure you participate. This is for everybody. There's no reason why you shouldn't participate. And it'll be an advantage to our community to have you do so. So Lynn and Ireland, thank you very much for being on Perkasie Business Chat.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Joe.